Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro is tightening his personal security as fears grow over a potential U.S. military move against his government. Sources close to Maduro say he's been switching beds, changing phones, and relying heavily on support from Cuba. His security precautions have increased since September when the U.S. started building warships in the region and targeting boats it says were used for drug smuggling. Got Executive Director for Concerned Veterans for America, John Vick, with us today. Good to see you, John. A lot of talk, obviously, about that strike that happened to that boat on September here. But also, we're looking ahead here as there's been conversations directly from the Trump administration with the Maduro regime, and it seems almost as to facilitate an exit here. How are you interpreting everything that's going on surrounding this topic?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things we've seen in this administration's engagement with Venezuela is a broad leveraging of multiple levers of national power, right? There's certainly been saber rattling and force projection. We've seen, an increase in the number of troops in the Caribbean Sea, ships off the coast of Venezuela, and of course, as you mentioned, the boat strikes. And clearly, from the reporting we've seen on how Maduro's behaviors have changed, he's feeling the heat. I think that is the intention. Ultimately, the intention is to bring all parties to the table to make sure that we alleviate the poison getting into this country.
We had talked last time about the possibility, right, that Maduro maybe seeks exile somewhere in a friendly place, say Cuba, for example. But really, is America in the business here of installing democratic governors of these states, if you will? Is that what we're looking to do in Venezuela?
I don't think you can do that by force of arms, right? We've seen how regime change works overseas. Obviously, there's been very tough rhetoric around Venezuela, and that's a lot of that is because Nicolás Maduro is not a good guy, and the regime in Venezuela is basically interwoven with drug cartels that do get a lot of nasty poison to the United States and to Europe. It ultimately kills people. And so what I want to see ideally is the administration's rhetoric matched up with our regional partners in the area to offset these bad actors. The important thing at the end of the day is stopping the flow of this poison into our country. There's a lot of ways to do that. There's economic measures. There's, of course, force projection measures. But I do not think that the end goal can possibly be boots on the ground changing a regime in Venezuela.
Okay. So I guess the strikes, right? These have been so controversial, especially as to see who exactly has been asking for them, if there's been the repeat strike of a person down, if you will. Congress intervention versus executive here. I mean, where are we? Is this a battle? Are we at war? I mean, how do we define these incursions to the American people?
This is when it gets pretty murky, right? Ever since 9/11, you've had multiple authorizations for use of military force called AUMFs that right after 9/11 gave broad authorities to the executive, to the president, to the president's administration to take actions that they deem necessary against people that they designate, organizations that they designate as foreign terrorist organizations or FTOs. And so having these open-ended war powers create a very murky legal situation in this particular kind of situation, because you designate somebody an FTO, suddenly it's kind of like the gloves are off. So one of the things that Concerned Veterans for America, my organization, is very passionate about is bringing Congress back into these decisions by repealing old war powers. And we're making big strides towards that. We're working right now on the 2026 National Defense Authorization Act, which currently has language that's passed the House and Senate, repealing the 1991 and 2002 AUMFs. I think that what that does is it forces Congress back into the situation so that you do have a lot more clarity on what's legal and what's not.
Yeah, I think that's why we find ourselves asking these questions on a day like today. We'll see what happens here as the conversation continues to surround Venezuela. But we appreciate your insight, John. Thank you.
Thanks so much.